it's up to you, Chief.
All right. Well, to start off, I wanted to ask you, how did you meet Maureen?
I met Maureen through my father. When Maureen was a little girl growing up in San Diego, she played a lot of older men in their 30s, and my dad was one of them. And after she grew up a little bit older and started winning all these championships and winning 9 Grand Slams and winning Wimbledon 3 years in a row and winning the only woman in America to have won the Grand Slam in 1 year. I don't know if you knew that, but Billie Jean never did it, Serena never did it. And they made a commemorative stamp in her honor this year, the Postal Service. So after she got off the circuit, when she got a horseback riding accident, got injured, she was married, got married and had 2 children, lived in San Diego. As a favor to my father, she gave my sister and I lessons for 3 years when I was 12, 13, and 14. And that's when I first met her in a lesson. And then she moved to Scottsdale, Arizona. But in those 3 years, I learned more that lasts me for a lifetime from Maureen Conley. She was an incredible person, very positive, very upbeat, very motivational. And she was just a great person all the way around.
So how would you say, as you were saying, a great person, how would you say she was like obviously like as a coach and like as a player? Did she, you know, I know you said like she helped you a lot and you learned a lot from her.
Right.
What were some things that you learned from Maureen?
Well, I learned 3 or 4 really key things. One, I learned how to hit the ball on the run. And I was able to direct the ball with my hand on the dead run, and I could hit it anywhere. It was my best shot since I was 13, and it stayed with me through college at UCLA and on the pro circuit. I remember one time I had set point against Ilya Nastasi. Ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, they call him Nasty, and very difficult to play against because his antics were pretty bad. But I had set point, I had a running forehand, and most of the time I'd go down the line, but I knew he had to cover it down the line, so I rolled it cross court with my hand without looking up, won the set. So that's the one thing she taught me: finish your hand up to your target, and the ball will go there. And I want you to remember that. And one way to do it is to keep your elbow straight. If you bend it too soon, it goes back. So keep it straight all the way through the swing, like Djokovic and Federer, and then they go back. But she taught me that. She taught me to work harder in a shorter period of time than waste your time 5 hours a day. You get more out of it. It's you don't get burned out. If you do 5 hours a day, it's called diminishing returns. There's a point that you don't get anything out of it. She felt to be fresh, work real hard intensely for 2 hours, then go back and do something else, get away from the courts. Because if you just hang around the courts all day, you get really jaded.
Yeah.
That's number 2. She taught me to never let up in a match, never feel sorry for your opponent, because if you do, they may get confidence and come back and beat you. So you don't want that to happen. You can still be a good person and beat someone badly. You befriend them after the match, go and have lunch with them, but never ever let up. Don't ever feel sorry for your opponent.
Right.
I had 13 nationals, first annual 1963 quarterfinals. Not that I remember every point, but I do. I had this Dickie Dell from Maryland, who's a clay court player, and I never played on clay before. I'm from California. This is my first, but I was up 4-1 in the 3rd set. And I had no parents, no coach. I was with my doubles partner's mother, came back on a train. I had to figure it out myself. I was so thirsty, 110 degrees. I was so thirsty, all I could think of was getting a Coke. I was dying of thirst, and I lost the next 5 games. I let up, and I never forgot it, all these years later. So what I learned is when you're up 4-1, you got to pretend like you're down 4-1. You play better when you're down. A lot of people come back because they focus. So pretend if you're up 5-1, pretend like you're down 5-1. Then you'll close out the match. Maureen also taught me to take breaks. To don't play tennis every day of the year and 5 hours a day. To get involved with your schoolwork and your friends, and maybe even play another sport like basketball or something that helps tennis, and which I played basketball. And she said, enjoy tennis, enjoy the people, travel the world, and great benefits out of tennis. It's a wonderful sport, and that's what she taught me.
That's really good. What do you think that made Maureen as good as she was when she was playing in the pros?
Her determination, her work ethic. She hated to lose. It kept her pushing herself. And she's just very competitive. She had that fire in her. And you can't teach that to someone. You either have that desire or you don't. And a coach can't teach it to you. Your parents can't make you have it. You've got to want it yourself. And that's why it's almost good not to have a coach or parents around you to play a big tournament, because it's all you. You got to figure it out how to win by yourself. Right now, there's too much nurturing going on, and you'll see a child with all their parents carrying their bags for the child, and you see a coach talking to them, and the kid maybe can't think for himself. You got to figure out in situations what works. You know, when you're up match point, 5-40 in the third set, do you think you should go for a winner?
When you're up match point, I would.
You would?
Personally. Well, if you have.
Well, try this. Reverse it. Who do you think has the pressure? Who's got the pressure on them? Your opponent or you?
Your opponent?
Yeah. Is that a question? Well, think about it. They're down 2 match points. Don't you feel pressure when you're down 2 match points? You got the pressure on you. So you don't want to give them a free point by going for a winner. Stupid. You let them back in the match. So you got to learn you got to be steady. Let them get nervous. God, the guy's not going to give me a point. He's not going to give me a free point. Oh my God. I got to work. I got to try something to win the point. Then they gamble. Then they lose the match. So you get into your steady mode. Don't say, "Oh, I got plenty of match points." Get that first one, and make them pay. Okay, I learned that as I got older, big time. That's huge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of kids just try winners. They give away the free points. They lose a game. Then they wonder why they lost the match. It's all up here.
So how did Maureen, you were saying that she inspired you. Could you go a little more in detail into how she inspired you?
She basically was a very positive person. She never was negative with me, ever. And so that's how she was motivational. She didn't put me down. And some coaches are like drill sergeants, and especially girls don't like to be. They're very sensitive in their teenage years, and you got to be careful. So she was always upbeat, very positive, very happy, and say, "Look, you did a great job today. You just need to do this." And she was never negative, and just made me feel good about myself. And that's how she helped me, and that's how she looked at the game. She was very positive and very ambitious, and had a lot of drive in her.